Hey guys, welcome back, and this is it. This is the final mock draft of 2023. It's been an absolute journey. This draft has been so many different storylines, and we still don't even know what's going to happen. Even inside the top three, it's going to be an insane draft. I'm really looking forward to it. Just a little bit of housekeeping for you guys. I will be going live on this channel and on the Mock Draft Guys channel on Thursday. We'll be streaming the entire first round, and then I will be giving my grades and top players available on day two. We're going to have so many videos coming this week. If you guys could hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. I'm trying to get to 700 subscribers by the end of April. You guys have been absolutely incredible. You guys have crushed it. I know you guys can make that happen. So without further ado, let's get into this first final mock draft. And we start with the Carolina Panthers. Now, we thought this was going to be Bryce Young all along, and I still think it will be Bryce Young, but the Will Levis news is very interesting. Now, it isn't the fact that his odds have moved up in Vegas. Usually that's pretty telling. What gets me more is the Frank Reich piece of this. Frank Reich and Scott Fitterer, they have come to an agreement on who the quarterback is. And I feel like if Frank Reich gets the decision, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis might be his guys. Those are the kind of guys that he likes, especially the Will Levis type. I think they ultimately will take Bryce Young in this mock. Would I be shocked if it was Will Levis? At this point, not really. I think Levis is a great player. I think he's going inside the top five without a doubt, and you'll see where I have him going. But I got Bryce Young going number one overall. At number two, I forgot to mention, we're going 3 rounds today. At number two, we are going to have Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama going to the Houston Texans. D'Amico Ryan's a defensive-minded coach. I think this deal is a really good fit for him. They get the best edge prospect in the class, a guy who can fit D'Amico's defense, and I think this makes a ton of sense. At number three, we're going to see a massive trade up. And I think when I say massive, I mean massive. And this is going to be for the Minnesota Vikings to trade all the way from 23 to 3. They'll give up 23. They'll give up 87. They'll also give up a first next year. We're just going to get the deals to go in. I think it'll be 2 firsts, 2 seconds, or 2 firsts, a second, a third, and Danielle Hunter goes to Arizona. I think Danielle Hunter plays that Hassan Reddick, that outside linebacker role for the Cardinals, the position they're looking for. The Cardinals are a trade back team, and we're going to have Minnesota jump up all the way to number 3 to select their quarterback of the future. They don't have a lot of draft capital, but this is a solid team. They made some moves in the offseason. Maybe Andrew Booth, Lewis Seen can stay healthy. That secondary looks better. They're going to trade all the way up and get their quarterback. And they are going to select Will Levis from Kentucky. They're going to jump the Colts, who apparently are obsessed with Will Levis. They really like what he could bring to this team. And Will Levis, I think, is the kind of guy that Minnesota wants. They want a guy who's accurate, can make all the right throws. Anthony Richardson could be a nice fit here as well. I'm going to take Will Levis. I think he's got a super high ceiling. They can sit him behind Cousins for a year, learn that offense. I think Minnesota's a prime trade-up team here, which leaves the Colts at number 3. Richardson, Stroud, and I'm going to take Stroud. There are some question marks still with that cognitive score that CJ Stroud took. That was absolutely disastrous, and it looked horrible. I still think it's going to be all right. I think Stroud has shown enough. The tape looks smooth on him. I'm going to take CJ Stroud. The Colts have that that Ohio State connection with Chris Ballard, and that's the pick that makes the most sense for me. And then at number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to take a different route for the Seahawks today than what you guys are normally going to see here. We're going to take Anthony Richardson at number 5. Anthony Richardson has shown a desire to learn behind a veteran quarterback. Seattle has shown a desire to draft a quarterback. Both sides seem to absolutely love each other. And I think this is a really good match. I think it works really well. And I'm going to take Anthony Richardson to Seattle. Can learn the offense for a year. They can cut or trade Geno next year when a lot of the contract stuff kind of falls off of him. And Anthony Richardson has the highest ceiling of anyone we've seen in the draft, probably in the last 5 years. Anthony Richardson's ceiling is sky high, and I'm going to take him here to the Seattle Seahawks at 5. At number 6, we got the Detroit Lions. Really good cornerback class. I think they could wait till 18 to get a cornerback. Maybe they get a Deontay Banks. Joey Porter Jr. might fall. I'm going to take an edge rusher. And around the league circles seems to really like Tyree Wilson. And I'm going to take him here. Really good run stuffer. I think he could be really good pass rusher as well. Him on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson could be a very dominant duo. You got James Houston coming in for passing downs. Tyree Wilson, great run defender as well. I think it's a really solid move for him. And I'm going to take Tyree Wilson to the Detroit Lions. At number 7, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to take Devon Witherspoon. I think he is my CB1. I think Witherspoon is extremely physical, and you can pair 2 Illinois cornerbacks up in Nate Hobbs and Devon Witherspoon. Hobbs and Witherspoon could be a very solid duo, and I like what they could bring. So I'm going to take Witherspoon here. The Raiders have said they probably won't go quarterback, and there's not really a quarterback worth taking here. I'm going to take Witherspoon here to be that guy for me. I think he could be a very solid piece. Just checking my notes here, making sure. Okay, moving on to number 8, we got the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to make the same pick me and the mock draft guy have been making for a few weeks. I think it makes so much sense here, and that's Nolan Smith to the Atlanta Falcons. They need an edge rusher. He fits that 3-4 defense so well. Had he not gotten hurt, I think you could really see him going ahead of Tyree Wilson. I think that deal would make a ton of sense. I really like Nolan Smith. Tested out fantastic at the combine. Keep the Georgia kid in Georgia. Fits the scheme well. I think it's a match made in heaven. I'm going to take Nolan Smith there. And it fits a need for what the Falcons are trying to do. At number 9, we're going to see another trade here. We have heard that if Jalen Carter is on the board, the Pittsburgh Steelers would be open to trading up. We've also heard that the Bears are willing to trade down. So I'm going to give 17 and 49. I'm going to give 17 and 49 to trade up to number 9, where the Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Carter. They need that interior presence. Jalen Carter is a fantastic player, a really good run stuffer, but his pass rushing ability is fantastic. Pairing him on a defensive line with Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, they got a really good pass rush there. I think Jalen Carter to the Steelers will be a very, very interesting move. At number 10, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are one of the hardest teams to draft for, but I'm going to take Peter Skoronski. They want that right guard spot. There's been talks that they might move Cam Jurgens there since Salmalou left. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Skoronski, play him at right guard, continue to develop Jurgens as that backup center to Jason Kelsey when he leaves, and I'm going to take Skoronski to play that guard spot for me. At number 11, now this is where I'm going to probably make some people mad. League circles seem to really be interested in another quarterback going in the first round. A lot of people have said he won't make it outside the top 20. I think this is a spot for him. And if you guys don't know who I'm talking about Tennessee's Hendon Hooker. Coming off an ACL tear, no one really knows what to expect. I think Hooker is going to go in the first round. Where he goes, I'm not sure. The Titans are in desperate need of a quarterback right now, though. They're looking to trade Ryan Tannehill. They are done with Malik Willis. This just looks like a disaster in Tennessee. Go get Hendon Hooker. See what can happen. From Tennessee, played there. You've seen him in your backyard pretty much all year. You know he's got a really good arm. He's mobile. And apparently, from what teams are saying, his interviews have been fantastic. I'm going to take Hooker here to the Titans and hope he ends up being that guy for me. And if not, I suck next year. I can get Drake May, Caleb Williams, but I'm willing to take a shot here on Hendon Hooker, a guy who has wowed me throughout the pre-draft process. He's recovering well from an injury. I'm going to make that move here. At number 12, Houston Texans, they need a receiver, and that's going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba for me. Really good wide receiver, my wide receiver 1, and really good route runner, really good hands, and the speed was better than we expected. The Texans can now pair him with Nico Collins, John Mechie, great wide receiver trio, and maybe Davis Mills has a little bit more to work with. We'll end up seeing what happens there, but JSN to the Texans at 12. At number 13, we've heard a lot that the Packers are really interested in the edge class. They're looking to add another edge rusher, which to me makes a lot of sense. And Lucas Van Ness, I think, is a perfect scheme fit for what this defense likes to do. They need to replace Dean Lowry, and I think I'm going to make that move here. I'm going to select Lucas Van Ness, a guy who fits really well in my defense. He's raw, powerful, and he could be a really dominant edge rusher if he falls into the right situation. And this just seems like a Packers pick. I don't think they're going to go receiver in round 1. And I'm going to make this selection here at 13. At number 14, we've got the New England Patriots, and it's going to be Christian Gonzalez. They need some size at the cornerback position. Gonzalez kind of falls into their laps here. You could see a trade back, I could see, but I'm not going to make that move happen. I am going to select Christian Gonzalez to the New England Patriots. They need some size, as I mentioned. Him, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones, Jack Jones, all the Joneses, and then you add Christian Gonzalez there. At number 15, we've got the New York Jets. I'm going to take a big offensive lineman to go protect my quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be Broderick Jones. This just feels like a Jets pick. They love big offensive linemen. We saw it with Mekhi Becton. Broderick Jones might have the highest ceiling of any tackle in this class, and I'm going to make that move happen. So I'm going to take Broderick Jones here at 15 to the Jets. The board did not fall too favorably for the Commanders. You could take Joey Porter here. You could go with Deonte Banks, kind of keep him around. Maybe you'll take Osiris Torrance. I think there's going to be a team looking to move up, and that's going to be the Arizona Cardinals, who we saw trade back to number 23 with the Vikings earlier. They're going to now move back up to number 16, where they will basically, what did I have? The trade details here. Let me see what I did. I had them also receiving pick 66. So Washington receives pick 66 and 23 to move back 7 spots, where Arizona can now get the guy that they apparently really like, and Kyler Murray's calling for the franchise to take, and that's Paris Johnson. Their offensive line has been horrible, and we've seen it. Kyler Murray's been injured consistently throughout his career. They cannot protect him. They're going to jump teams like the Buccaneers, like the Chargers, the Bears, try and get their tackle. And I think there's actually a really good situation for them. They add future capital, get Danielle Hunter and Paris Johnson. Cardinals are winning the draft right here. At number 17, I think this is a pick I would have made at 9, and the Bears stick there. They end up adding another second, and they get Darnell Wright. Perfect right tackle for this team. The left side of their offensive line was okay last year. Wasn't amazing, but the right side's where it really struggled. And I'm going to make this move here. Take Darnell Wright. Protect Justin Fields at all costs. And I think this could be a really solid move for the Bears. At number 18, what did I say? I thought they could get a cornerback later. The board just fell perfectly for the Detroit Lions, where they could select Joey Porter Jr. Some long arms, physical cornerback, a really hard hitter, goes from the Nittany Lions to the Detroit Lions, and they get a really good piece to add to this secondary. And I think he could have a Sauce Gardner, there he is, Sauce Gardner type rookie season if he falls into the right situation. At number 19, I look at the board for Tampa. I like Deonte Banks. I like Myles Murphy. Bijan Robinson apparently has been a guy they really like. I'm not in love with a lot of the prospects here for the Buccaneers, and I'm going to trade back. I think the Buccaneers could be a real potential trade back team, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to move up 12 spots. They're going to give up a late second-round pick at number 63, and they're going to trade up to select a wide receiver. That's going to be Zay Flowers. They're going to jump Seattle, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Jaguars, the Giants, all these teams that could look receiver and take Zay Flowers. Flowers has been working out with Patrick Mahomes. There seems to be something there. I love this fit for them. Could be that guy that they thought Sky Moore was going to be, the speedy guy. They like undersized receivers. Him, Tony, Valdez-Scantling. I mean, you've got a really nice trio there. And I think Zay Flowers is a lot of people's wide receiver too. And I'm going to make that move here. At number 20 for the Seattle Seahawks, man, I think this is gonna be a draft that Seahawks fans aren't going to be in love with. I'm gonna take Deonte Banks out of Maryland here. They need a third corner. You got Kobe Bryant. You've got Tariq Woolen. I think Kobe Bryant could be more of that slot guy. And then you got Banks and Woolen on the outside. Banks is fantastic in man coverage. He's got good hands. He's fantastic at the line of scrimmage, especially in the press. This is the guy that they want. They can continue to rebuild that Legion of Boom. Deonte Banks could be that guy for them. Really good value here at 20. I love that pick for the Seattle Seahawks. And a pretty solid edge class where I think they could get a guy in round 2. I'm going to take Deonte Banks here. At 21, the Los Angeles Chargers are going to continue to select Bijan Robinson for me in mock drafts. We don't know what's going to happen with Austin Eckler. Bijan, I don't think, falls lower than this. I think Bijan's the best running back prospect we've seen in 5+ years. He's fantastic. Got the comps to LaDainian Tomlinson. He's going to go play where LT did play. I love this pickup for them. At number 22, we've got the Baltimore Ravens. You could look to trade back here if you're the Ravens. Who would be trying to jump up? The Saints have talked about trying to jump up. The Ravens have. That's interesting. I didn't do this in my other mock, but I think I'm going to. Ooh, this is very interesting. I could definitely see a world where the Saints could jump up. They have apparently been searching trade up options. Baltimore has been searching trade back options. They trade back 7 spots. I think they could give up 71, and I think you could bring in a 4th next year. I think this deal's pretty even. I'm going to make this move happen. I'm going to push this deal through. It's going to throw off my draft a little bit. I think the Ravens could trade back and still get the guy I want to take to them. But for the Saints, you need some help on the defensive line. And I'm going to take Myles Murphy. Super athletic defensive lineman from Clemson. He's got a very high ceiling, and I think he works here. I really like what he could be able to provide to the Saints, and I think he would be a very good pickup for them. So I'm going to take Myles Murphy here. For the Washington Commanders, they traded back, and I think first things first, they would like to look at the corners. I think it's a little too early for Forbes, Cam Smith, Kaylee Ringo. I think Tyreek Stevenson could very well go in the first round. I'm not going to do that, though. Interior offensive lineman, you could go Osiris Torrance. I love that pick for them. But I'm actually going to go with the tight end here. Logan Thomas can't stay healthy. I think we are going to see a tight end go here. And it's going to be Dalton Kincaid. Especially with Eric Bieniemy now in this offense. They need a tight end. We saw how much they used Travis Kelce in his offense. And yeah, I think they're going to do it here. So we're going to take Dalton Kincaid to the Washington Commanders. At number 24, this is originally where I had Myles Murphy going. I think Murphy fits really well in Jacksonville, especially because they apparently aren't trying to actively bring back Josh Allen, which I think is stupid. But instead, we're going to take Brian Branch and kind of just stick with the same pick we've had for literal months here. So we're going to take Brian Branch here. At number 25, we got the New York Giants, and this was where I had Brian Branch going. But I am going to take Jordan Addison. Really good route runner. It just feels like a Brian Dable kind of pick. This is the kind of guy that I think he has been interested in. This is the receiver that they need. I'm going to take Jordan Addison here to the Giants. At number 26, we've heard reports that if he's on the board, there's no way that the Cowboys would pass on him. And who am I talking about? I'm talking about Michael Mayer. Jake Ferguson was solid last year. Michael Mayer is one of the better tight end prospects we've had in a few years. We've heard that there could be as much as 4 tight ends going in round 1. I think that's a little ridiculous. I'm going to make this move here. I think this is the pick I am going to select here. Michael Mayer to the Cowboys. They need tight end help. Get another weapon for Dak. I like that for them. Then we're going to select Anton Harrison to the Buffalo Bills. We heard today that Anton Harrison could be a sleeper first-round pick. I don't think he's a sleeper. I think he's almost a lock to go in round 1, especially with Buffalo, Cincinnati, Kansas City picking towards the back end. I think Anton Harrison will go in round 1. And they need tackle help desperately in Buffalo. So I'm going to make that move, and I think he could be a really good tackle for me moving forward. The Bengals are sitting here, and they're not really loving the board here. I don't really know where they would go. Would they go Jahmyr Gibbs? I think that could be very possible, but I'm not going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. Could they go tight end? Darnell Washington's in play. Could they go tackle, which is where I think they want to go if they would have taken Anton Harrison? Don't love that either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade back. And who have we heard of that needs a receiver? There are receivers on the board here, and that's Carolina. Carolina is going to jump back into round 1, where they are going to move up 11 spots. They will also give up. What did I have them give up? Let me look. I had them giving up pick 93 as well. This deal works pretty well according to just kind of the value of picks. They get 93 and they get 39, the Bengals, for the Panthers to trade back up in round 1 and select Quentin Johnston. They need some size in this receiver room. Johnston's one of the biggest receivers in this class. They need speed. Quentin Johnston provides that. They come away with Johnston and Bryce Young in round 1. A pluses across the board. I really like this idea. I hadn't experimented with it. I like Carolina to jump back in round 1 if a receiver slips. At number 28, or 29, we got the Baltimore Ravens. I said that the guy who I wanted to take here originally, I thought would still be on the board, and he is. And who was I talking about? I was talking about Northwestern's Aditomiwa Adabare. They are looking for a guy that is inside-outside versatile. Adabare provides that. I think he's fantastic here. This feels like a very Ravens pick. Good pass rusher, good run defender. Had him going 22, but they trade back 7 spots, acquire a third, and they get Adi Tomiwa. Really like that move for them. At number 30, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to go with an edge rusher here. I think they want a little bit more of a true edge. Will McDonald fits, but he would just be playing the Hassan Reddick role. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Keon White here. I think Keon White could play a little bit on the inside. A lot of people seem to think he is going to go in the first round. I'm going to make that move. So we're going to select Keon White here. And then I said I think you could see another corner slip in around 1. And it was cornerback Tyreek Stevenson. That's the move I'm going to make. It gets a C here. Tyreek Stevenson's awesome. Really good in man coverage. I think they need some size in the cornerback room. Tyreek Stevenson, a big corner. I like that. Now my whole board is going to be a little bit different because originally this is where I had Jordan Addison going. That changes up the entire second round for me. You look on the board, some really solid names here. I'm going to go with the linebacker here. I'm going to select Jack Campbell out of Iowa. Probably the best linebacker in this class. We know that the Steelers are looking to address the linebacker position. I don't believe Miles Jack came back. They need some help. And Jack Campbell is the best linebacker in this draft. So at the first pick in the second round, I'm going to select Jack Campbell. Perfectly fits what Houston originally did in my mock. They need help on the interior of their defensive line. And that's going to be Kalijah Cansey. I think he's a really solid piece here. Could be a good pass rusher. And I think if anyone can mold him into a superstar, it is D'Amico Ryan. So we're going to take Kalijah Cansey here. And then back-to-back picks here. I would take Will McDonald here. That's one of my favorite picks to make. But remember earlier in the Vikings trade, I said they brought in Danielle Hunter. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to select Brian Brzee here. They need some pass rush from the interior of that defensive line because it is bad. So we're going to select Brian Brzee at number 34 to the Arizona Cardinals. They get Danielle Hunter, they get Paris Johnson, and they get Brian Brzee. So I like this for them. At number 35, my Indianapolis Colts, we're going to select Osiris Torrance. They need help on the interior of that offensive line, particularly that right guard spot. We know the left guard is fantastic. That's Quentin Nelson. He's played that role fantastic. They need help on the right side, especially after Mark Lewinsky went over to the New York Giants. He's here at 35. I can't pass on the value. At 36, this is where Will McDonald IV will come off the board. This is great value again. I think this is awesome for what this team needs. They need an edge rusher that can play that outside linebacker role. I think that's exactly what Will McDonald can do. So I'm going to select him here. At number 37, the center position is a weak one for the Seattle Seahawks. And I know Mozzie Smith still on the board. I am going to select John Michael Schmitz. I think that's the biggest need for them right now on the board. Mozzie Smith could play that nose tackle role. I think they can get a nose tackle later on in the draft. John Michael Schmitz, one of the best centers in this class, if not the best center, and I'm going to select him here at 37. And then this is where we're going to see Mozzie Smith go off the board. They need help on the interior of this defensive line really bad. Their run defense in Vegas was not great last year. I'm going to make this move, select Mozzie Smith, and really boost up the interior of my defensive line. For the Bengals, they traded back, added an extra third-round pick, and they still get the guy who I wanted to take to them in round 1, and that's DeJuan Jones. Could play that right tackle role really well for them. I think this is a really solid move. He's a raw edge prospect, absolutely monster of a man. I'm going to take DeJuan Jones. At number 40, we have the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go with Darnell Washington here. They need tight end play. Juwan Johnson, cool story, but Darnell Washington, huge. Derek Carr loves his tight ends. We saw it with Darren Waller. I think they're going to continue to build weapons around him, add pieces here, and Darnell Washington makes a lot of sense for me. At number 41, this is where we're going to see another offensive lineman come off the board. I'm not taking Matthew Bergeron. No, I'm going to take Steve Avila. I like him better than Osiris Torrance. Personally, I think he's a little bit more fundamentally sound. Really good Senior Bowl. I think Avila fits really well with what this team wants to do. He could play in either of the guard positions. I think he could play center even. I like that for them. At number 42, For the Green Bay Packers, we're going to select Jalen Hyatt. Add some speed to this receiver room. You could line him up in the slot. You could line him up outside. I think he fits whatever this team needs. I'm going to make that move for them there. At number 43, I originally took Jack Campbell here. He's not on the board, so I'm going to take Drew Sanders. I think a linebacker has to be the pick here for the Jets. The linebacker plays weak. They weren't able to bring back both Quincy Williams and Quan Alexander. They need another linebacker. I'm going to make that move here for the Jets. At 44, this is where we're going to see Emmanuel Forbes come off the board. Yeah, this is an interesting one because Forbes did not test great at the combine, or measure great, I should say, but really solid player. SEC battle tested, great interception numbers. I think he's a solid piece, and I like what he could bring to Atlanta. So I'm going to make that move here, and I think he could be a very, very good move for the Falcons, especially after they lost Casey Hayward. At tight end here, the Packers have a gaping hole. Luke Musgrave's on the board. No-brainer pick. He's dealt with injuries, but he's a very good player when he's healthy. I think Musgrave could be an awesome piece for Jordan Love in this offense. At number 46, we're going to go with a receiver here and Josh Downs. This is becoming my new favorite pick of the entire draft. Josh Downs to New England makes so much sense. They have Juju. They have Kendrick Bourne on the outside. You could line Josh Downs in the slot. You could bring Tyquan Thornton in if you want extra speed. I absolutely love this for them. And yeah, I'm going to make that pick here. Washington's kind of sitting on the board again, and they're looking around, and they're like, okay, Cam Smith is here. I don't love that. If I'm Miami, there are rumors I really like Jahmyr Gibbs. Detroit, Chicago, Tampa, all running back needy teams. I'm going to jump up. I'm going to jump ahead of those three teams. Washington can move back, probably acquire a 6th rounder from them. Yeah, you move back 4 spots, you acquire an extra 6th round pick. Maybe you swap 6th rounders or something like that. No, that's not going to work here. We'll just, whatever it takes to get this deal to go through. And I think Miami's going to jump up just a few spots here and select Jahmyr Gibbs before Detroit and Chicago could get him. There have been rumors that the Dolphins really like Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's a great receiving back. Teams really like him. I'm going to make that move. I think it makes a lot of sense. They need another running back. Yeah, they brought in Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert. But I'm going to go with what I hear the rumors saying, and that's Jahmyr Gibbs to Miami. At number 48, we're going to continue to address defense here for the Detroit Lions. We're going to take Keanu Benton out of Wisconsin. They need a big interior defensive presence on that defensive line. Keanu Benton fits that extremely well, and that's going to be the move. Felix Anudike-Uzomah is going to be my next pick. I think he fits the scheme of Eberflus extremely well. I like what he could bring to them, and I'm going to make that selection here for the Chicago Bears. At number 47, this is intriguing to me. They took Tyreek Stevenson earlier. They're sitting at number 50. Ooh, where do I want to go? I'm looking at the edge prospects here because I like B.J. Ojulari in this defense a lot. I originally took Matthew Bergeron here because I think their tackle could really, the tackles could improve. But I'm going to switch this up, and I am going to select B.J. Ojulari. He could fit that outside linebacker role really well. Shaquille Barrett has been on a steady decline. B.J. Ojulari could come in, fill that role to perfection, and I really like that move for them. At number 51, Cam Smith was the pick and is going to remain the pick for me. Washington gets a really good corner, physical, extremely hard hitter, one of my favorite players in this entire class, and that is going to be Cam Smith. I think receiver is now in play for the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm going to take Cedric Tillman. I think he could play really nicely alongside Lockett and Metcalf. I think he was sliding around too. I think Tillman's not getting enough love throughout this process, and he's going to be a selection for me. And then Kaylee Ringo, going to come off the board here for me. I like what he could bring to me as well. I think you need some size at the cornerback position. Yeah, you got Jaquan Brisker at the safety. You've got Kyler Gordon. Who else did they draft last year? I'm blanking on the name. But they do need another third corner. Oh, they got Jalen Johnson in there. They need a third cornerback, and I think Kaylee Ringo could be very nice on the outside. Maybe run him in safety. I like Kaylee Ringo to the Bears. I think it's an interesting possibility. At number 54, another pick that I'm really starting to love, and that is Tuli Tuipulotu to the Los Angeles Chargers. They need some inside-outside versatility. Tuli provides that. I think he will translate better to an edge. He's tested edge throughout this whole pre-draft process. I'm going to stick with that. At number 55, I'm going to take a linebacker, but I'm going to take Dion Henley here. I think he's really good in coverage, great tackler, and he just fits what the Lions need to do. So I'm going to make that move here, and I think it works for him. I'm going to take a tackle here. This is where Matthew Bergeron comes off the board. They need that right tackle to replace Jawan Taylor. Matthew Bergeron fits for me. I really like that pickup. Solid. Some people said he could play guard. I think that's ridiculous. I think he's a perfect right tackle prospect. You can keep Cam Robinson, on the left tackle, and you got your offensive line pretty much intact. I like Bergeron to Jacksonville. At number 57, I originally took Jonathan Mingo here, but I'm going to go with a corner, and that's going to be Julius Brents. Physical, big cornerback that I think Dable would love. They don't really have a ton of size at the cornerback position. Really good in zone. I think he's really raw in man coverage, though. He's going to need to work on that, but I think he could be a really solid piece for them there. The Cowboys need a guard, and there's a really good guard left on the board, and that's Cody Mock out of North Dakota State. Mauler, he's been fantastic, and I think he could be an awesome piece for this defense, or offensive line. They need that guard position addressed, and so I'm going to make it happen. Linebacker here, you lost Tremaine Edmonds. You're going to need to improve at that position. And you got a guy who's got very similar measurements to Edmonds, and that's Trenton Simpson. You get him here at 59. That's incredible value, in my opinion. I'm going to go with it. Run that card to the podium. I think it makes a ton of sense for them. At number 60, I'm looking at the tight ends. Sam Laporta is still on the board, and I'm going to make that happen. Yeah, you brought in Irv Smith. I am not wowed by Irv Smith, even in the slightest. I'm going to make this move here. I think Laporta and Irv Smith make a better tight end duo, but Laporta, you've got him for a few years, and I think he's the piece here. For the Chicago Bears, I'm going to go with my guy in this class. My receiver, one of my favorite guys in this entire draft class, and that is, I'm going to go with Jonathan Mingo. I was originally going to take Michael Wilson. That's my guy, but he's not getting any love in this draft. I think he goes in the first 3 rounds, but I'm going to take Mingo. Best value here. I think he could go a lot earlier than this based on reports, but Mingo to Chicago, get him the ball in space. A heavy RPO scheme is where I think he fits best, and Mingo, I think, works really well here. So I'm going to take Jonathan Mingo to the Bears to play alongside Claypool, DJ Moore, and Darnell Mooney. You got a nice trio there. Or 4 pieces, but I don't know how long Claypool's going to stick around. Either way, we get the Philadelphia Eagles here. They're on the clock. I'm going to take DJ Turner. A slot corner could be in play here, especially because you lost out on, or you brought back Bradbury and you brought back Slay. The slot corner could be improved. I know safety also could be here, but I'm going to go with the slot corner here. At number 63, I'm going to go with a tackle. I know it's early, but I think I'm going to go with a tackle here. I'm going to take Blake Freeland out of BYU. I originally took Matthew Bergeron to them, but Freeland's on the board here. I'm going to jump the board a little bit. They're going to reach for him. You need a tackle. He tested really well at the combine. I'm going to make that move happen. At number 64, the first pick of the second round, I believe, and this was Joe Tippmann. They need a center in Chicago. Continue to kind of build that offensive line. You get Darnell Wright, you get Joe Tippmann. You're getting weapons for Justin Fields by protecting him. And that is a huge piece that this team has lacked in for a few years now. Now, we are going to see another center come off the board here, and Luke Whippler. Perfect for what Houston needs. They need a center. They need to be able to protect whoever's really quarterbacking for them. And I think this is the move for him. So I like that for him, and I'm going to make that happen. At number 66, we got the Washington Commanders. Interior offensive line, I originally took Dion Henley here. Linebacker is where I went with it, but I don't really see a linebacker I'm in love with. Let's look here. Linebacker. Henry To'oTo'o, Nick Herbig, Dorian Williams I'm a big fan of. DeMarvion Overshown I'm a big fan of. I don't really know what I want to do here. Safety, I'm not going to address either. Quarterback, I'm not going to take a quarterback here. Yeah, I'm going to go with Chandler Zavala out of NC State. Maybe a little bit higher, but you need some interior offensive line guard play. Zavala's really good, and he's flying up draft boards. I'm going to make that happen, and I think that's a good pickup for the Commanders. Maybe a little high, but I had him going here, I believe, later on. I believe at 97. Yep, I had him coming here at 84, but I'm going to take him here at 66. For the Broncos, I'm going to take the two picks I continue to make for them, and that is Byron Young and Garrett Williams. Two really good scheme fits. Garrett Williams, I think, is an awesome corner. Had it not been for the injury, he would be going higher. Excuse me. And I think that's a really solid pick. So I'm going to take Garrett Williams and Byron Young. Perfect scheme fit. He's flying up boards. I saw Mel Kiper had him in the second round. Really good edge rusher from Tennessee. Can play that outside linebacker role alongside Randy Gregory. Can slot in for Gregory. Could play that replacement to Bradley Chubb. I like Garrett Williams and Byron Young there. For the LA Rams, I'm going to take Clark Phillips here. You need some cornerback play. He's a little undersized, but very productive at Utah. No-brainer, really, for me. For the Raiders, we're going to take Isaiah Foskey. A lot of people pretty low on this guy. I think he could go higher than we expect, so I'm going to make that happen. And for the Ravens, they added an extra third-round pick from the Saints, and I'm going to make the same pick that I made for the Saints. Actually, no. I'm going to take Michael Wilson here to the Baltimore Ravens. You need a little bit of size, a little bit of size in that receiver room. Bateman, Odell, Michael Wilson. You got a nice piece. You got a nice thing going there. We're going to see a receiver come off the board again here in Marvin Mims. I just like what he would be able to provide to this team. Good size. I think he complements Traylon Burks' play style really well. Was underutilized at Oklahoma. I like Marvin Mims here to the Tennessee Titans. For the Houston Texans, man, they could go with an edge again if Derek Hall's still sitting here. And I would consider doing that. But I think they're going to go with a corner. You need some help next to Derek Stingley. And that's Darius Rush. South Carolina produces really good cornerbacks. Darius Rush, I think, is another example of that. And I'm going to make that move happen. We're going to see a running back come off the board here, Zach Charbonnet, to the Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb is not the only guy on this team. You need some help in that running back room, and I'm going to make it happen. You need help desperately. I'm going to go with the receiver here to the Falcons, and I want speed. I'm taking Tank Dell. Yeah, he's undersized. Drake London, Mac Hollins, you got some size in that receiver room. Get some electric speed and a really good route runner, too. I'm taking Tank Dell at 75 to the Atlanta Falcons. At number 76, this is originally where I had tackle going, but with him still sitting on the board here, I have to go Sidney Brown. You need another safety. Sidney Brown is awesome. I love Sidney Brown. I think he's going to be similar to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Ball hawking safety. That's a no-brainer pick for me. And I'm going to go with the tackle here to the Rams and Jalen Duncan. The guy who had mocked in the first round, but kind of fell off boards a little bit. I think he fits what the Rams need. They need help on this offensive line, really anywhere. And I'm going to take Jalen Duncan here. Another safety is going to come off the board, and that is Antonio Johnson. Their safety room is not good, so just continue to add pieces. I believe Rasul Douglas is the only safety there. Yeah, get some help. He's still sitting on the board here. Oof. The value's too good to pass on Derek Hall. He fits what the Colts want to do defensively. They're looking for an edge rusher. I have to make it happen. I took a corner originally here. I'm going to take Derek Hall. For the Steelers, tackle, I think, is too early, but corner is not. And I'm not going to go with the corner you guys are expecting. I'm going to take Corey Trice out of Purdue. Big cornerback, long arms. I think he's awesome. One of Bro Schmo's my guys, and I think Corey Trice could be a really solid piece. Steelers are going to get him here at pick 80. At number 81, this is where I had a running back going. Let me know what you guys think of this. I took Tyjae Spears. David Montgomery, really your only back. I think Tyjae Spears complements him pretty well. DeAndre Swift, apparently not in your future plans. So get some help there and select your running back in Tyjae Spears. We're going to see another back come off the board here. Originally, I had swapped this with Kansas City, but they're going to stay put. I'm going to take another running back, though, in Devon Achane. They need speed. Achane's electric. He ran a 4.4 40, and I think that's a really solid pickup for them. I said nose tackle could be addressed later on, but I'm not going to take it here. I'm going to take Zach Harrison. Could be that inside edge rusher that this team's looking for, and I'm going to make that one happen. For the Miami Dolphins, tight end I think is probably where you go, but I'm gonna take a look at the offensive line prospects. I think I'm gonna go with Wanya Morris. I know Tyler Steen's sitting there. I want a really good right tackle. Wanya Morris, a little bit on the rawer side, but he could be a really good right tackle. I think he goes in the first 3 rounds. I think Dolphins need help on that offensive line. We saw Tua was almost murdered last year, so we're going to take Wanya Morris here. And this is where we're going to see Tucker Kraft come off the board. You're going to see a couple tight ends come in this round, I think, and I like this pickup for them. Their tight end play is very weak. Tucker Kraft, good at South Dakota State, and I think it's a no-brainer pick for me. Baltimore, they got Adi Tomiwa, they got Michael Wilson. Now they're going to go with a corner, and it's going to be Travius Hodges Tomlinson. Tested well at the combine, physical. I think he works what this team wants to do. Next up, we are going to go with a wide receiver, and that's going to be my guy, A.T. Perry. I think he's a really good receiver. He's got good size, and I think he's really quick off the line. They need size in this receiver room. It's weak. And they don't have any size here. I'm going to make that pickup here for the Cardinals. At number 88, I took Wanya Morris originally here, but we've kind of seen some good pickups from them. Trying to think here what would fit. I don't hate Andre Carter here. I don't hate receiver here either. Interior defensive line could be in play. Safety, you kind of addressed. You know what? I'm going to go with a interior offensive lineman. I think I'm going to go with an edge, but I'm going to take Andre Carter. Very raw prospect. Huge. I believe he's 6'7", very raw, but I think he could play that outside linebacker role. You'd have to develop him a little bit, but I think if he can get into the right system, he could be a really good player. So I'm going to select him here. Giants, I think as much as they need interior offensive line. Actually, no. I know where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with Oluwatimi. I'm not going to say the first name, but Oluwatimi out of Michigan. Could play that center role for the Giants really well. Nick Gates had the injury. Now he's in Washington. You need some help there, and I think Oluwatimi is a really good pickup for them, actually. For the Dallas Cowboys, D-line's a big one, and I'm going to take Gervon Dexter. I really like this kid. Very powerful, and they just need help on the interior to stop the run, and I think Dexter provides that for them. So Cowboys get Gervon Dexter. Then we're going to see another safety come off the board here, and it's going to be Jordan Battle. Good safety prospect as well, and I think, I like what he would be able to provide for my team. Next, we're going to see a couple of picks here. I think Quad Martin's going to be the first one. I think he can play a little bit of corner, but I think safety is where he's going to thrive. Play him alongside Daxton Hill. I think the Bengals draft is coming along very nicely, and with my second pick, I need a running back. And I'm looking at the board. Roshan Johnson's here. I'm going to take... I'm going to take Sean Tucker. Tested out extremely well at his pro day. I think he could go in the first 3 rounds. Maybe it's a bit of a reach. The running backs are all very close, in my opinion, after you get away from the first 5. I'm going to take Sean Tucker here. Then we are going to see another safety come off the board. And this time it is going to be Jamie Robinson out of Florida State. Good safety, could play that C.J. Gardner-Johnson role. I think he works here nicely. And then we're getting over towards the end of this draft. If you guys have enjoyed, please hit that like button. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to take Isaiah McGuire out of Missouri. I think he's pretty solid. Good hand. Might not have the speed that you would love to see off the edge, but he's a raw prospect. Pair him on the opposite side of George Karlaftis. I think you could have a nice pass rushing duo. For the Arizona Cardinals, I need a corner. My secondary is not good. And I'm going to add some size here in Jacorian Bennett. Provide some speed, some size to my secondary. Worked really well at the combine. I think that's going to be the selection for me here. for the Commanders here at 97. Oof, where do I want to go here? Linebacker. I'm going to take Dorian Williams. I considered him earlier. I'm going to take him here. Little undersized. This dude's got power. He hits hard. And I think he works with what the Commanders need to do. Their linebacking core is weak, especially after Cole Holcomb left. I'm going to take Dorian Williams here. For the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to take Carl Brooks. I think you could use an inside-outside kind of guy. Carl Brooks probably works really well as an interior guy next to Myles Garrett. I think he could be a very nice defensive tackle for this team. So I'm going to make that one happen. For the 49ers, we've got just a few picks left here. We're going to take Jair Brown with my first pick. Good safety, fits this scheme great, and I'm not going to overthink it. For the Raiders, we're going to go with Tyler Steen. You didn't address tackle yet, but now you do. You get him late, can play that right tackle role on the opposite side of Colton Miller, and I think it makes a lot of sense for you. And then we're going to go with Eli Ricks out of Alabama to play that corner. And then I'm going to take Andrew Voorhees, can kind of learn in this defense a little bit, in this offensive line, excuse me. There's an offensive line that doesn't need to go with a guard, but I think he could develop very nicely. And with my last pick, continuing to beef up my run defense, Siaki Ika out of Baylor. So that's it, guys. That's the last mock draft I'm going to have. Unless we see a monumental trade between now and Thursday, this is it. So be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Stay tuned for other draft content coming in the next few days. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.